Okay guys, now we are going to study another kind of loop, and it's called for. Okay, so what is going to be the exercise? So the exercise is going to say, is going to be practice 9, the third exercise of this set, of this second set of exercises. It says do an algorithm in Python using the for loop we haven't studied so far. Okay, that giving a string of characters prints the letters in a vertical way. What does it mean? For example, you ask for a name, so the string is going to be a name, and then you are going to print the characters in a vertical way. David. Okay, so here we are going to call our exercise practice 9. Practice 9. Okay, .py. Hashtag is this algorithm prints the characters of a string in a vertical way. Okay, so what do you need? Obviously you need to ask for the name. So it's gonna be a string characters is gonna be input and your name, and you ask for your name. Please give me your name. Okay, and then what are you going to have? Then you are going to print a message that is going to say the name in a vertical way is, and you print. How? We are going to use another kind of loop, and it's called for. For letter in a string characters, do something. Do what? Print the letter. So what does it mean? I'm going to save it. What does it mean this? For letter in this, print letter. So let's see. So the general form for a for, that is another kind of loop, a second kind of loop, is for variable in a sequence, do something. Okay, for variable in a sequence, do something. For variable, we call this variable letter in a sequence, and the sequence, for example, in this case, is the sequence of character in a string. Do something. What? Print the letter. Okay. The variable following for is bound to the first value in the sequence, and then the code block is executed. What does it mean? So it's going to say, if your name is David, it's going to have for letter D in string characters, print the letter D. For letter A in string characters, print the letter, and etc. etc. The variable is then assigned the second value of the sequence, and the code block is executed again. The process continues until you complete the elements in the sequence, in this case, in the variable that we call it string characters. In this exercise, the sequence is the string of characters of the name. Okay, so it means something like this. If we execute this, it's going to say, okay, give me your name, and I write, for example, I write obviously my name. So for example, hello, David. Okay, and it says, okay, the name in a vertical way is D-A-V-I-D. So it says, for each letter in the string of characters, print the letter. Okay, something to pay attention to this, guys. Letter is a variable, and we don't need to define before the variable. So what does it mean? We can put anything here. For example, from n in a string character to something. If we save it and if we test it, it's going to work. Jamie, the name in a vertical way. Okay, yes, I made a mistake because here I need to change the letter. Okay, change the letter because I talk about this. Okay, and execute again. Please give me your name, Jamie. Jamie. Okay, so what does it mean? This variable that you have here, this variable can be anything, okay, and you don't need to define before, as it happened with the other exercises. Look, here when you say while n is ta 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 ta, you need to define what is n. Okay, n is equal to 1. Okay. In the other exercise, in the multiplication table, why n is less or equal than 10, but what is n? You have to define before. Here, no. In for, you don't need to define the variable before, and you can put whatever you want. Okay, for letter, in string characters, print letter. Save it, execute again. I don't know. George. Got it? Okay. Now the other exercise. So we are going to create a new exercise. It's going to be practice 10. Practice 10.py. And the exercise is going to be this. It says, do an algorithm that does the addition of the numbers in the interval between the number 1 and final number -1. This number is given by the user. Use the loop for. So this is similar to practice 8. If we study practice 8, remember that in practice 8 we do the sum or the addition, okay, between the number 1 and another number given by the user. In this case we are going to do the same, but until the number -1. For example, if I say final number is going to be 5, I'm going to do the addition between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Why 4 and not 5? Because the exercise says until the final number -1. Okay, so it's going to be 1 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 10. Therefore, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equal to 10. This is final number -1. Okay, so how to do it? But it says that you have to do it with 4. Okay, so it means hashtag this algorithm does the addition between 1 and a final number -1. It is given by the user. Okay, so what do we need? We need the final number. So final number is gonna be, we need to ask int input. Okay, input what? Please write the final number. Okay, and then I'm going to have a variable addition that is going to have the addition 0 at the beginning, and I'm going to have the for what? For number in a range that begins in 1 and finish in final number, do something. So here I have what? For variable, remember that variable could be anything, for variable in a sequence. What is the sequence here? A range between 1 and a final number, without including final number. Okay, so what I'm going to have, addition is going to be addition plus number, and then what? And then I print the addition. So it's gonna be the addition is comma addition. So what are going to have here? I save it and I test it. I clean the screen and I test it. Please write the final number. For example, 5. The addition is 10. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equal to 10. Okay, so something that is new is this range 1 to 2, etc. Okay, because the for is the same, for variable in sequence. What is the sequence? A range between 1 and final number. So with the for loop, the sequence can be generated using a built-in function called range. Okay, so built-in function means that it's already in Python, which returns a series of integers. The range can take 3 integer arguments, like what? Start, stop, and step. What does it mean? If we have, for example, something like range 3, 40, 10, it will take the values 3, then 13, then 23, then 33. It means start in 3, stop at 40, and the step is gonna be this. So it means 3, and the step is 10, it means 13, plus 10, 23, plus 10, 33, until 40. Okay, I don't include 43 because it's beyond 40. So we can have something like this. If the first argument is omitted, this, it defaults to 0. And if the last argument, the step size, is omitted, it defaults to 1. Like what? Range 0, 3, it will generate 0, 1, and 2. It means what? It means that the first argument is omitted, so it means that it defaults to 0, begins in 0, until this. So without including this, no, remember. And if the last argument, the step size, is omitted, it defaults to 1. It means 0, 1, 2, until this argument without including this. Okay. In this case, what is the sequence? The sequence means begins in 1, finishes until final number, but without including final number. So it would be 1, 2, 3, and 4 without including the final number. Okay, got it? Now an exercise for you guys. Question: what do you need to change in your algorithm? So it means, what do we need to change here? What do we need to change here? So it will do the addition or the summation until the final number, but including this, including the final number, as in exercise 8. Look, if we see exercise 8, if we test it, please give me the number until you want the addition. 5. It includes the final number. What do we need to change here? Okay, what do we need to change here in order to include the final number in the addition? What do we need to do in order to include the final number? So what do we need to change in our algorithm in order to include the final number, in order to have the summation until 5? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. What do we need to do? So that exercise is for you. Think about it and try to solve it. Okay? And finally, the last exercise. Last exercise is going to be practice 11. So practice 11.py, don't forget at the end. And practice 11 is going to be do an algorithm that enters in a list the numbers between a lower limit and an upper limit. The lower limit and the upper limit are given by the user, but just shows the even numbers, los números pares. So it says, for example, if you say, okay, the lower limit is 1, okay, the upper limit is 5, you have to show the numbers in a list. The list of the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then you have to show just the even numbers. However, the list of the even numbers are 2 and 4. How to do it? Okay. So we will study something new, and it's called list. Okay. So what is the algorithm about? So this algorithm, el hashtag, this algorithm shows the numbers in a list between lower and upper limit and then choose the even numbers. Okay, so what do we need? Obviously we need to ask for the lower limit and we need to ask for the upper limit. Okay, so it's gonna be lower limit is gonna be equal to int input quotation marks, please give me the lower limit and the upper. Okay, so I'm going to have this, going to copy and paste it, and I'm going to change this here. It's gonna be here at the beginning, it's gonna be upper, and here the message is gonna be upper. Okay, and then what? And then I'm going to what? I'm going to define my list. So how to define a list in Python? You provide a name like a variable, list numbers. So list numbers is gonna be this. So this is how you declare a variable, a list in Python, like a variable. You provide a name, and then you say that list is gonna be an empty list. What does it mean, an empty list? That you don't have any elements, so you are going to put square brackets and close square brackets. This means, so I'm going to put here this. This is how you declare an empty list in Python. Okay, then what? Then I need, as it says the exercise, to put the numbers between the lower limit and the upper limit in the list. How to do it? Okay, I'm going to use a while loop. While what? While the lower limit is less or equal than the upper limit, do something. Do what? Add the element to the list and continue with the other. Add the elements to the list and continue with the other. Add the elements to the list and continue with the other. So it means add elements to a list. How? List numbers dot append this, and you put the element lower limit. So this instruction, so you use name of the list, name of the list dot append to what? To add elements to a list. Okay, so you use this instruction dot append means agregar, añadir, append to a list, and between parentheses the element that you want to add. Okay, and that is the way, this is the way of you add elements to a list. Then what? Then we need to move to the other element. So it means, okay, so lower limit is gonna be lower limit plus 1. Okay, you continue with the other number and then the other and the other. Okay, then what? Then you print it. So you say print quotation marks \n. So you are going to say the numbers of the list are, and you are going to say list numbers. Okay, so let's test it. So we have the first part until here. Okay, we are going to test it before continue with the second part. So we are going to test it, we save it, and we tested. So we tested here. Please give me the lower limit. It could be 1. The upper limit, it could be 5. The number of the lists are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so far so good. Now what do we need? To just take out this and take out this, the even numbers. How to do it? Okay, so we are going to create a new list of even numbers, an empty list, and we are going to use for a for loop. Okay, we are going to say for number in list numbers. So we are saying for each number that you have in the original list, in list number in this list, for each number in this list, for variable in sequence, do something. Do what? How can we know that this number is even or odd, or this number is even or odd? If we divide this into 2, and if the remainder is 0, it means that this is an even number. Okay, so and how can you operate with or how can you know the remainder of a division? With the modulus operator. Okay, so here we are going to say if the number modulus, so we are interested in the remainder of the operation, modulus 2 is equal to 0, something is going to happen. Remember that we learned modulus in the first document. Remember that when we study, when we have this, look, pay attention, when we have first document, look, that was the first document that we work, and in the first document we study a comparison operator, arithmetic operators, etc., etc. So look, here we have at the end of the first document we have the arithmetic operators, and look, we have the modulus operator. Modulus operator means divides left hand operand by right hand operand and returns the remainder. Okay, the remainder. It means el residuo de la división. Okay, so we say if number modulus 2 is 0, means that that number is an even. So if that number is an even, what do we need? We need to add even number dot append and the element number. Okay, and then what? And then print the list. Print the list of even numbers is, and we show it even number. Okay, we save it and we test it. Please give me the lower limit 1, the upper limit 5, the original list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the list of even number 2 and 4. Okay, so what we did here was, first we create a new list that is going to contain the even numbers, and then we say for each number in the original list, do something. Divide that number into 2. If the remainder is 0, it means that that is an even number. If that is the case, add to the new list. If not, do nothing. And again, do it again with the second number of the list, the third number of the list, and etc., etc. Got it? So, to finish, we are going to say something about list, okay? We use something called array or list. An array of lists in Python is like a box. What does it mean? It's a container in which you have positions and values inside those positions. So it's like a string, similar to a string. Imagine the following picture. Imagine that this is a list. We call it list number. These are the values of the list, and these are the positions. A list always begins in the position 0, like a string. Okay? As you can see from the code, we define a list called list number, and the first value of the list is the lower limit that is given by the user. which is in the position 0. The first position of a list is the index 0, similar to what happened with the strings, as I told you. If the user says that the lower limit is 1, then the first value of the list will be 1, but the position will be 0. The last value of the list will be the upper limit, like this. 1 lower limit and then the upper limit, 5. Okay, got it? And something about the modulus, as I told you. We use the modulus operator, this percentage is modulus operator, in order to know if the remainder of the division is 0. If that is the case, it means that that element is an even number. If that is the case, we add the new element to the even number list. So we use name of the list dot append value we want to add. Name of the list dot append and value that we want to add between parentheses or inside parentheses. Okay? Pay attention to this. Finally, we use a loop instruction called for. Different from while, a for instruction is called definite loop. For is called definite loop. Why? Because it begins in one point and finishes in another specific. Okay? The sequence, remember? It means you know from the beginning when the loop is going to finish. With a while, called an indefinite loop, indefinido, impreciso, it depends on the user. Okay? Is when you algorithm means a condition. In this algorithm, in line 14, well, here we don't have in line 14. Okay, here we have in line 21. Okay, we are telling Python that we are going to do something. What? A modulus operation from the first element of a list, and we will finish with the last element of the list. Okay, something that we did here. Got it, guys? Okay, thank you for your collaboration and see you guys. Bye bye.